Going on, Falcon fans? It's your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Today we're gonna talk about the Falcons game against the Baltimore Ravens on Christmas Eve. Talk about how the Falcons have been eliminated. We'll talk about the future of the Falcons. We're planning for the off seasons and some of the Falcons' needs. We'll get into that tonight. So, guys, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys out here that talk about. And please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in and hear me talk about these Atlanta Falcons. So real quick, we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna talk about the injury report first, of course. Injury report going in it have not been official yet, but Archie Smith did give us some update on a couple of guys going into this week 17 game against the Arizona Cardinals. Of course, Chuma Edoka is a guy that been injured a couple of weeks, still injured. Still, we'll find out more on Wednesday if he's going to be ready to go on Wednesday. Chuma Edoka, of course, we got our original starting five back out there. Elijah Wilkinson is back, but Chuma Edoka is definitely a guy that could be a rotation guy for us. Felipe Franks is out as well as in the protocol, so we'll have to see what's going on. Felipe Franks, if he actually going to be returned. A couple other guys, Matt Hennessy and John Fitzpatrick, still on the ready to play. We'll see if those guys going to be able to come back, get off injured reserve. Of course, since the playoffs is out the picture, maybe those guys just sit out for the rest of the season. We'll know. But since Felipe Franks out, could be an opportunity to see first time to see John Fitzpatrick get in. I haven't seen him all year. He was drafted this year, one of our draftees. We'll get to see if we can actually get to see anything about get a look at John Fitzpatrick this year. We'll just have to see about that. So, guys, that's it for the injury report. More to come tomorrow when I do my keys to victory for the Arizona Cardinals game. We'll get into that. But right now, those are our injury report. That's where we stand. So, let's get into the takeaways from the Ravens loss from Saturday's game. And I can just say this, just looking at the game, going over the game, personally, myself, I was really, really disappointed that the Falcons got eliminated from the playoffs. Once again, we got off to a slow start on offensive side of the ball. Defense just, keeps us in the game all year. That's what they've been doing. They was able to keep us in the game. But from an offensive standpoint, I felt like we got out to a slow start once again. Just can't get in a rhythm to start the game. And we always play catch up. Every game that the Falcons pretty much played this year been a tight game. But I think it sounded like a broken record. I sound like Grady Jarrett, the same old shit most of the time, just to the fact that these guys just can't get over the hump. You see the small things that they really need to fix on. You see the holes in the team that really need to, they need to work on this off season. But for some reason, we can't get out to a good start, and on the offensive side of the ball, and the defense just dig itself a hole, and then we're not able to get out of it. Defense, from a point standpoint, it's been pretty good this year. Haven't gave up a lot of points this season, but our offense has not been able to actually put points on the board. So, of course, it's a team game. We always talk about offense, defense, and special teams. But for some reason, those slow starts, and we keep playing uphill instead of trying to, maintain a lead. We're always trying to get a lead or to get back into the game. The takeaways from the game for me, I definitely felt like Desmond Ridder took a leap forward from game 1 to game 2. Keep in mind, he's a rookie. Playing 2 good defenses in his first 2 starts is really huge for him because those guys, especially both teams, still playing for playoff positioning, trying to get in the playoff and things like that. They didn't take anything back. They gave throw everything at him. We know the Aints defense is definitely one of the best defense over the past couple of years. So that's a good test for him playing his first game in the Superdome, then coming right back, and in inclement weather, cold outside in Baltimore, playing against that stout defense. with those great players from front to back on that team. I thought Desmond Ritter did a great job in his second start. Um, not great, not great to where like yeah he's going to be our future quarterback, but from game one to game two, you could see the improvements. He mentioned his hesitancy, not staying in the pocket longer. I thought our offensive line did a pretty good job staying in the pocket, giving him time to actually to to be able to do some things that he needed to do in the pocket. I thought went through his progressions. Still had some missed throws, of course. That's expected, but for the most part, I thought he got better. You can see the chemistry that he already had with Drake London. Could be to a fault. We don't want to get to the situation where he's forcing the ball to Drake London, but you can see that chemistry in the last two games. Drake London has had 20 targets, so that chemistry is there. And the more the more we see in these last games that Desmond is going to play really helps us determine what we're going to be needing for the future from offensive standpoint. Um, Even if we decide, to go get another quarterback, but you can see the holes in some spots on offense. You can tell Kyle Pitts is really being missed. You can tell the running game has not lost a beat. Um, Ravens did not give up 100-yard rushers, and the Falcons went over 115 yards in that game. So you already know that the running game is still um, good, even with a change of quarterback. So that's one thing you can actually say from year one to year two. We have established an identity, a running game. Um, that should not change. Hopefully, it gets better. Tyler Algier has emerged as probably the number one back, even surpassing Cordero Patterson. Um, and he's going to be a monster his first year. He's just really fluid. I mean, catching balls out the backfield, everything you see from Tyler Algier, it's just real promising. So, the takeaways I got from the game is definitely the improvement from Desmond Ritter. The biggest takeaway I got from the game is that I felt like we got cheated. And I really never go in and talk about the referees a lot because it's so much game in the game, and you don't want to actually put everything on the officiating. But in my opinion, the penalties that we got in this game, especially in the red zone, really hurt us. I mean, going into the half at the 1 yard line, that was not intentional grounding. His arm got hit. It was clear. Um, and they just missed the call. Then it got a 10-second runoff. I would think you would have give the offensive coach opportunity to take the time out there to keep the time on the clock instead of getting a 10-second runoff because he does have that option to do that because he has a timeout left. So instead of taking the 10 seconds runoff, you give us the 10 seconds back, then we can actually probably run at least two more plays there instead of forcing the field goal. But either way, first of all, it was not intentional grounding. Then they took the 10 seconds runoff. We ended up with a field goal there going into the half. The other possession that we had, Cordell Patterson score a touchdown. They called back on holding on Lumberday Zacchaeus, another bogus call. Um, the catch that Michael Pruitt caught, I felt like that was a reception. They called an incomplete pass. Um, I just thought that this game, the the situation of the game, what it was about. I felt like the referees had a lot to do with it. The Falcons is one of the least penalized team in this league, and I felt like to this time, they did have something to do with the game. Like I said, I really don't usually go to the refereeing, but in those situational football, really hurt us in that game, and I felt like um, we got cheated a little bit in that game, and I don't know what it is about it on the Falcons. Go back to the roughing the passer against the Tampa game. Seems like the Falcons get cheated a little bit, and Arthur Smith goes crazy on the sideline. Don't want to get penalty. I mean, get fined or anything like that. But I agree with him 100%. Those were some bad calls. It's nothing you can do about it now because they're not gonna go back and change it. They can say, "Yeah, we messed up," things like that, but does not change the outcome of the game or the situation at the time and things like that. So I felt like we actually just got cheated in that game. But if you're just looking at the play on the field, I felt like Tyler Algier probably would have scored a touchdown on one of our red zone drives. He tripped on his own foot. I thought he was in for that. We had to go for a field goal at that in that instant as well. So I mean, you just look at it. I thought Arthur Smith went out. He went out real aggressive. Went fourth down a couple of times. But at the end of the day, we came up short in the game. Um, our defense, like I said, kept us in the game. It don't look pretty. They don't give up a lot of points, but you still see the holes on the defensive side of the ball that really need to be addressed. Um, and that's where we're at. I really believe that the Falcons are in the right direction. It really sucks because I really believe that the Falcons is, and it's crazy to say this, but I really feel like the Falcons probably was the best team in our division this year. But we just couldn't get over the hump. Think about it. We lost 6 of our last 7 games, and we still had a chance to actually be in the playoffs, and that says a lot because um, how bad the division is. But if we just won 3 of those games, we wouldn't be having this conversation. The Falcons would be in the lead. They might already have the NFC South clinched up, but the expectations that we had for this team, especially myself, I had the Falcons going 10-7. Um, but at the end of the day, the roster, what it is, we probably got like 28 free agents um, this year. Another team where we had a lot of 1 year contracts. Um, and that says a lot about the coaching staff, about this regime, because to be able to get these guys that's coming out here playing on 1 year deals, playing their heart out, buying into what we're trying to do as a team in 2 years in a row says a lot about the culture that Arthur Smith trying to build. And we have to respect that and like the way the direction of this team. Expectations should have been higher. I felt like we could have definitely been in the playoffs this year, even with the roster that we have, but we just could not get over the hump. Um, and sometimes in the NFL, those are the teams that just not ready yet, that need to fill some holes, to in certain spots. Because I felt like situational football, we did a good job, but we just failed in some areas where we just couldn't get over the hump. I'll talk about some of those needs in just a minute, but really, um, this game and last week game against the Aints pretty much just tell you our season in a nutshell. Just couldn't make the plays when we need to make the plays down the stretch, and it really cost us this season. And so many, 1 score games that we have been in. This is, if you go back and look at the Minnesota Vikings. I think the Minnesota Vikings is like 11-1 in 1 score games, and the Falcons is probably almost like the opposite of that. So they just tell you the parity in the lead is how easy it is to have a winning record in these 1 score games and then be on the opposite side like the Atlanta Falcons and really be on the losing side of those 1 score games. We got to do better. We did a better job last year. I think in 9 games we were 7-2 in 1 score games, and you go look to this season, totally different teams, not the same situations. Look at different games, but things like that. At the end of the day, 1 score games tells you about the parity in the lead as well, about how this lead is so competitive and that any team can win. The old cliche saying "any given Sunday" is true, and the Falcons just could not come up on that side of the W this year. What's up, Racondo? What up? Outside of year you on Reggie? Yeah, I mean, like I said, um, you just have to look at the positive things. I thought this was one of the best draft class in the NFL this year. If you want to just talk about the Atlanta Falcon draft class, you've seen so many good draftees that's really played well. Tyler Algier definitely probably might be the best draftee that we had this season. You talk about Drake London. Of course, he got to fix these fumble issues, but I can say that that fumble that he had in that game, that's just a good defensive play. It's a good peanut punch. We talk about that, going out to get the ball. Good throw by Desmond Ritter, good catch by Drake, but a good defensive play by a defensive player. But Drake London definitely need to fix, his fumble issues, because that's probably the third one this season, right? But I'm not worried about Drake. I think he's a going to be a great player in this league. But like I said, Tyler Algier, Drake London, Umber Katie, he's really close to it. D'Angelo Malone probably need to get some more runs, especially the last two games, to see what he actually be able to do. Um, this rookie class, I thought, was probably one of the best rookie classes in the NFL. From a team standpoint, we had a lot of young guys play this season. That's another thing too. You got to look at how young this team is. A lot of second year and first year playing. I thought Troy Anderson had some really good snaps as well this year. I thought Richie Grant. I didn't realize Richie Grant is second on the team in tackles this year, behind Rashawn Evans. So being that box safety, coming down, making big plays. Yes, he got burnt on a couple of plays, but for the most part, I felt like Richie Grant had a pretty good season as well. So from a first year, 2 year standpoint, you look at this regime finally going into the offseason where they can actually build a team like they want to build it. Those are the things that you got to look at and you got to like moving forward for the Atlanta Falcons. We want two more games. I agree. We want two more. We'll definitely be in it. As I said, since Tampa Bay game strip has been written in NFC South and how it's going to play out. But it's funny. I really believe that the Carolina Panthers is probably going to win the division. I don't know what it is about. I just feel like it's going to be the Panthers. I think the Panthers are going to beat the Bucks this week, and then the Bucks going to have to beat the Falcons to get in. That's what it's really going to boil down to. So, that's where it's going to boil down to. The Bucks going to have to beat the Atlanta Falcons in the last game of the season. Hey, Raquando, I like the second game. Our quarterback, some tough throws. Now he nearly quality targets, losing picks hurt 100%. Like I said, he really improved from game one to game two, and you have to realize, you have to put it in context, because going up against the Aints defense in the first game, and then going up against the Raven defense in the second game on the road, you have to put that in perspective, put it in context, and I really believe that he improved from game one to game two. He really was throwing that ball around. He's not scared to throw the ball. We definitely see that. He's not shy. He's going to take chances. You kind of like that, and you kind of worried at the same time, because he's a young guy. But you like the idea that he does not scared to pull the trigger. Like I said, Drake London, 20 targets in 2 games. We just go back and look how many targets he had with Marcus Mariota. Sometimes he didn't get targeted but 1 or 2 times in a game. And in 2 games, he already had 20 targets. That chemistry there. Don't want to see him force it to Drake. Maybe if Kyle was out there, to your point, I think maybe you could see a little bit more better distribution of the ball around the field. Kyle's out there probably open up for a lot of other guys as well. But I agree. I think Desmond Ritter really had improvement. And what you want to see is even more improvement in his third game playing back at home this weekend. Great job this year, Raquando. We should have started Ritter around week 4. I'm hoping we improve. I think we should have started him at the Panthers game. That's just my opinion. I thought after the Panthers game, we seen enough for Marcus to know what he is. Good, solid backup quarterback in this league, can come in and win some games for you, but definitely don't have that full-time starter mentality to actually be a quarterback in this league. London Algier look legit. They really do. Both of those guys, you got to respect both of them. I had high hopes seeing a win at a game. It's been since 2019 my 10-day game. We won none. At 4 out of 10 this year, harder. I agree with you. This is what Arthur Smith talking about, right? the home field advantage. If you want the fans to start to come and root for the team, you got to start winning your games. So hopefully you don't get discouraged and keep going. They're going to start to pull it off. I think this third year is a big year for this regime, this team, because I really believe, the first year, gotta remember it was a COVID year, right? 182,000 in cap space. They had to make so many bargain basement deals with players to bring in just to build a team up. This past year we had the highest dead cap hit in NFL history. Getting rid of Deion Jones, Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, and all those guys, right? So that was huge for us as well. This year, about $80 to $90 million probably in the salary cap space. Could do so much. Of course, we have to pay some of our own guys, like our Pro Bowler Chris Lindstrom, just to say. AJ Terrell is probably another guy. And then, do you want to keep any of the guys that you actually had on roster this year that was on 1 year deals, like a Rashawn Evans, like a Lorenzo Carter? So those are the guys considered that's already in the building that you might want to keep. Then you definitely got to go out into free agency. You got to be able to be looking at the trenches, offense and defensive line, probably in the secondary, and this is all before the draft. You really want to go out and get some of your big needs in the free agency before we get to the draft. And Chris said, I think the Panthers will too. Yeah, I really think the Panthers. I think they're playing the best football right now in our division. Um, and be honest with you, I don't have any hate and will discontent against the Panthers. So if anybody does win, I would really, really want those guys to win, if anything. Steve said, "What's up, Ricardo? I think we are the team to be NFC South 23. Carolina will be our nemesis, but I like our first and second year players improving with some quality vets mixed in. We're coming." I agree with you 100%. I believe Carolina because people sleeping on that defense. That Carolina defense is really legit. Their front seven is so good, and their back, their secondary is good as well. Their issue is the quarterback position and probably another couple skill players, but um, Steve Wilkes did a great job. He might actually, if he get the team to the playoffs, he actually might be the coach moving forward. But I agree with you 100%. I believe that the Falcons is going to be one of the teams because one, it's those first and second year players you're talking about definitely is going to improve. Kyle Pitts going to be back, and then just like you said, we mix in some veteran players that's really going to help us. Really, really going to help us. And speaking of that, what's going on, Bridget? What I want to talk about, like I said, we talking about the playoffs real quick. Like I said, I already pretty much talked on the playoffs. I think the Carolina Panthers going to win NFC South. If we just talking about the playoff picture in whole, I think the 49ers could be a really legit team. Their defense is really good. One of the teams that the Falcons beat this year. Of course, they wasn't fully stocked. Bosa was out, but just to show you that the Atlanta Falcons compete with some of the best teams in the league. Compete against the Niners. We beat the Seahawks, another team that's still in the playoff hunt. So we got potential in this league, but I believe that the 49ers probably the team to be the NFC, and then it's going to be between the Bengals, the Chiefs, and the Bills in the AFC. That's just where my mindset is going, but I think that Panthers, if the Panthers does win home field advantage, right now it looks like it's going to be the Dallas Cowboys seed. The Cowboys do not want to come to Carolina and play against that defense. That's going to be a scary feeling for those guys. Like I said, that defense is really good, and the Cowboys going on the road to play a road game against the Carolina Panthers would be tough. So the game this weekend against the Panthers and the Bucks is a big game. If the Bucks can win that game, I think they probably gonna be good to go to make it in. But if they don't, like I said, the last game of the season against the Atlanta Falcons in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium is going to be a big game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So just be on the lookout for the playoffs. But the Falcons are out. We can finally say it. Like I said, we had this division locked. It was really, really locked. I mean, if we win 2 or 3 of these games, we're the NFC South champs right now. We just could not. We were just not able to do it. So, I mean, it's just that just how it rolls. We just say I can't wait to see more Ritter. I like how he played these 2 games. Improvement made from the first game, based against some defense, even though lost. And I that's what I just said. You have to really, really put it in context. No wins, no touchdowns yet either for the young quarterback. But if you just go look at game 1 to game 2, you saw the because what you want to don't want to make the same mistakes. And I felt like he didn't. Now he did come out slow again against the Ravens, but that's a really good defense, guys. I mean, like I said, playing those 2 defenses back to back, it's not easy for a young quarterback to do on the road at that. And he did both. I thought he controlled the managed offense really well. The different formations, the different things you have to think about, doing the checks in and out of, looking at the blitz packages coming in, the coverages and things like that, you know, making audibles. He did all that. If you're watching the game, he was controlling the game. It just was not going up there, calling a play and then get up there and hoping something happened. He was running the offense, just like a veteran would, from the operation standpoint, right? So you have to like what you're seeing from Desmond Ritter. I agree with you 100%. He definitely made improvement, and what you want to see in game 3 is even more improvement, right? I think the level of the defense is going to go down just a little bit. The Cardinals still pretty good defense, but not it's going to be as stout as the first 2 he played. He's going back, have the comfort of the home field as well. So hopefully he's able to come out and play really well from the start this time. Don't have any slow starts this week. Really don't need that. And hopefully that we'll see what Desmond Ritter his improvement is going to be. All right, guys, let's get into one thing that I really want to talk about today, and this is the offensive need, the offseason needs where we need. So it's almost time, to start talking about the offseason. For the Falcons, you might well, I guess we can go ahead and start talking about it. I already seen so many mock drafts out there. Right now, currently, the Falcons sit at number 6 in the draft. So many people already picking Jalen Carter. That'll be awesome if he's still there at number 6. If the Falcons stay at number 6, the Falcons have opportunity actually to go to number 2 if they was to lose their last 2 games. So I don't want to put that in the that in the atmosphere, because we don't want to be known as trying to lose games to get draft positions and things like that. So Arthur Smith was not. He talked about was trying to go out and win these last 2 games. But if the Falcons lose, they could potentially be at the number 2 spot in the draft, and then they could really pick who they want to pick. Right? If they don't feel like Desmond the guy, they can pick a quarterback maybe, or they can have an opportunity to pick the best defensive player in the draft, who's going to be there at the time. So that's the draft, right? We really, really talk about the draft so much. But like I said earlier, Falcons really need to really, really hone in on free agency, because free agency is where they really going to make their big strides, right? Because you need some veteran players. Just like Uncle Steve said up here, is the fact that these vets we need to bring some veteran guys in, some good veteran guys in. Not saying that the guys we brought in wasn't good, but I'm talking about some good veteran, all pro guys if possible. Because we have the cap space, we can sign some guys to longer term deals and bring these guys in to help these young guys develop. Right? We really got to do that, and we really need to do it on the defensive line. Defensive line in the secondary where I would really, really want to home in for the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons right now, in 2 seasons, sit at 37 sacks. The next lowest team is at 60 sacks, in 2 seasons. That's not good enough, right? We sent I think sent one more sack than we had last year. Um, we still have 2 games left, but we got to be able to get to the quarterback. Sacks is not everything. I talked about this earlier in the offseason about pressures and things like that, but we're not producing enough pressures or sacks to really to affect the quarterback position, and it hurts our secondary. We already is limited the secondary because we lost our starting corner. So one of the things that the Falcons, if they really want to work and try to create some needs in the off seasons, they need to start in free agency. And I would really start on the defensive line and in the pass rush, D line, interior D lines, outside because of the 3-4, the secondary, maybe another safety. I really like Jalen Hawkins, but I really believe that if we could find a more veteran safety to go back there, Richard Grant would really be good. Another cornerback on the other side, maybe a slot corner, and like I said, defensive line, somebody to go beside Grady Jarrett to help produce interior pressure up the middle. That would really help as well. So if I was the Falcons, the things I will be looking at in the offseason and free agency, and you can definitely do this in the draft as well, but really go into the defensive line, pass rush, and the secondary. Those definitely some needs that I think the Falcons could really use, and we're gonna be able to see more of that these last 2 games. Like I said, hopefully D'Angelo Malone get a little more Barnes, Armor Ebiketie keep improving. Still got 2 games to go. He's so close. You can see the talent that he has, but just need to work on it. Just be able to be more consistent and be able to start to disrupt games. 1 or 2 sacks. 1 or 2 called fumbles, big plays in games. Well, we just don't do that enough. The Falcons been really good on defensive turnovers, but um, it really had not come up, sack and pressure and things like that. Been more interceptions. So that's what I think we need from a defensive standpoint. Offensive standpoint, it's really simple. We just need probably 1 or 2 more receivers to be able to create space. I think that's really what's hurting Des Murder as well. With Kyle Pitts not being out there, a lot of receivers are not creating the separation that they need to get open. And, not having Kyle Pitts there to draw those double teams and things like that. Let's go back to last season a little bit where um, it was just Kyle Pitts and CP for Matt Ryan, and that's why Des Ritter probably forcing a little bit to Dre London because he's the only one that just is able to to create the separation needed. So on the offensive standpoint, definitely probably some more pass catchers, receivers. We can get a veteran one that would be great. Definitely can look in the draft for a receiver as well, but those are some of the needs. I'm never not going to say offensive line because we don't really know what's going to happen with Caleb McGarry. We did not pick up his 5th-year option, so he's a free agent this year. He might have played himself into a big contract, and I'm not sure that Falcons is willing to pay him on that contract. He has played a whole lot better this year. I can't say that about Caleb McGarry. So we'll just have to see if the Falcons is willing to give him right tackle money, right starter tackle money. We'll just have to see about Caleb McGarry. But if not, we have to definitely go get another offensive tackle on that side. I think him and Chris Lundstrom have developed a good chemistry there. I thought he played a whole lot better this year as well. So Caleb McGarry, offensive line. Offensive line is what we really need. I thought the left guard position was pretty steady. Of course, we had a lot of injuries. Elijah Wilkins was in and out. We had Hennessy there. We had Chumo Adoka there. We had Kobe Gossett there. So we had some guys playing that left guard position. But from from week 1 to week 16, we actually been really solid in the run game. Our pass blocking is pretty been holding up pretty well as well. So from an offensive standpoint, one of the weak spots coming into this season was the offensive line. I thought they played well this year, but you never want to say you don't need offensive line help. But my biggest needs on offense is definitely going to be the receiving core. We definitely need a boost in that. Kind of make you wonder if we should have kept Calvin Ridley, but we'll just have to see what they decide to do in the receiver core. Quarterback could be a need. We just don't know yet. Definitely not giving up on Desmond after 2 games. So, and I don't know if you're going to be able to have the answer after 4 games as well either. So, maybe they go get a veteran quarterback in the offseason. I don't know about Marcus Mariota. I felt like he quit on the team. That's just my opinion on that. But that's where we stand with Marcus Mariota. Ritter did what Marcus Mariota couldn't do all year, 200 passing yards. Yeah, man, like I said, he's not afraid to throw the ball. You can just see it. I mean, he's going to let it go. That's what you really, really like. I say draft for DT, then get you another corner to pair with AJ. Yes. Yep. The question is, do you go get it in the free agency or the draft? You could double up, right? You can do it in free agency, then go back and double up and get in the draft as well. You always want good depth. That's good. Do the Falcons need to hire new coordinators? I don't think they need to hire new coordinators. Simply because, like I said, the things that the Falcons did do this year. If you just look at the number from a number standpoint, I thought the Falcons was really consistent. It's just the talent. It's the lack of talent, to be honest with you, and that's why you have to look at the coaching and just tip your head up to the coaching on this team, because it really boils down to the talent. I mean, these defenses, these offensive schemes, they work. We've seen it work with better talent. Matter of fact, Baltimore is running similar defense that Dean Pease runs. And look at what the Baltimore Ravens defense looks like compared to the Atlanta Falcons defense. Because of the talent, that's what it really boils down to. Arthur Smith, when he was back in Tennessee, first and second and red zone efficiency, when he was their offensive coordinator, we seen it work, right? The running game is there. We just got to get the talent around these guys. And like I said, this is the year. This is the year we can actually be able to do that in free agency and in draft, because we're going to have the resources, the cap space, and everything. The Falcons been playing with their hands tied, with one hand tied behind their back for the last 2 seasons. That's just a fact. With the calorie cap situation, it's just the fact that where they were, and that's really what it boils down to. No excuses this year, though. They have all the salary cap needed. I think they might have probably $10 million in dead cap, which is really good considering where they came from. They had to make some tough decisions, getting rid of our veteran franchise quarterback, of the 14 seasons. I'm sorry for Matt too, man, because he didn't get treated right in Indianapolis on that offensive line, was probably worse than our offensive line, and got benched twice. Just messed up, a great career from one of our, best players in Atlanta Falcon history. But just they had to make the hard decision. Get rid of Deion Jones, who's really playing well in Cleveland. If you've been watching that, definitely probably still could have used him this season as well. The Falcons decided to move on from him. Calvin Ridley, we're going to see how he, come back and take over the team down there in Jacksonville. So just some of the things that decisions the Falcons had to make. But at this point, they can actually build a team how they want to build it. It's their team now. Arthur Smith, Terry Fontenot. He mentioned some historical, teams to look at just for reference purposes. He talked about the Seattle Seahawks, the way they Pete Carroll and his GM really worked in and got into made a Super Bowl team. We talked about the Buffalo Bills. Look at them now, the way they built the team. We talked about San Francisco 49ers between Kyle Shanahan, and his GM, the way they built the team. So it's precedent and it's a blueprint out there. Not saying the Falcons going to have the same blueprint, but you can see where a team just do the things they need to do. Go through some growing pains. At the same time, you can identify where you're at as a team. I think the Falcons have a great idea of what the team is, what it needs, and how to make improvements going forward. Still got 2 games left. Some of these guys can get improvement, and then we'll just go into the offseason excited about Atlanta Falcon football going into 2023. And I agree with what Uncle Steve said, that the Falcons going to be one of the teams that somebody gonna have to come looking at next season. That's the plan. That's the plan, guys. All right, guys. It's 41 minutes. I've been talking here about the Atlanta Falcons and Ravens game. I will be back on here tomorrow to talk about my keys to victory for the Arizona Cardinals game. Still playing for something. I know it don't look like it, but some of these guys I just mentioned, 28 guys probably going to be free agents next year. It's a lot of guys that's playing for the future jobs in the NFL, not with Atlanta Falcons, with somebody else. A lot of guys playing with pride, just to go out on top. The coaching staff still trying to create the winning mentality. We don't want to be the team that lose with 9 straight games going out. That really sucks. So let's see, can we get a W here on Sunday? And I'm gonna give my keys to victory. How the Atlanta Falcons can actually be able to do that. Hopefully. So guys, that's all I have. Let me know what you think about the offseason moves the Falcons need to do in free agency and the draft. We'll really start getting to it after the season and talk about what the Falcons really need to do. But we're going to finish the season out strong, hopefully, and just look and see what this young quarterback, the improvement that he can make these last 2 games to give us some hope. Could he actually be that dude? Right? That's what we're trying to find out. So that's it, guys. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace. It's not working.